Hello everyone and welcome to the ESV TV Korean Weekly Season 3. We're here in Week 1, Day 2. Gonna jump into some awesome StarCraft 2 action. I'm Orb, joined with me today is Adebisi. What's going on today, man?
Not a whole lot, man. I'm excited to be back. I gave Axel Toss the boot for today, so I am here co-casting with you, and I'm pretty pumped. We got a lot of good matches today, and I really don't know what else to say.
Yeah, man. By the way, guys, I know the sound settings are like a little bit different, so just let me know if our balance is good. I don't know if maybe Adebisi
Yes.
might be too quiet or something like that, so just keep the feedback in the chat, and we'll try to keep an eye on that and make sure everything sounds good. So let's jump right in and take a look at what we're going to be casting today. The first match in round 1 is going to be Aria against Rain. Now, of course, everyone should know Rain on Team Fnatic, just a really talented Terran player. But Aria, this guy, a little bit more of a mystery. He is on old generations, but, I mean, I looked him up on TLPD. He didn't even have a TLPD of him in Korea. He had an international one, but he was listed under being under Dream Team Gaming, if that's the same guy, and he only had, like, one game. So, do you know anything about this guy?
Yeah, I think this is the player who had a one game, a replay that got, I think the replay got released, or maybe it was just cast or something, but it was a game against Huck on Metalopolis, and there was like a whole big thing about who is this Arya person? Are they like an ex-Brood War player? Is this, is this Jadong and ridiculous stuff, all of that? So, the truth is no, this player is not a former Brood War player or anything. But they are pretty damn talented. So they're now living in the OGS house, and that's just exciting, man. Any new player that shows a lot of promise, then moves into one of these pro gaming houses is bound to improve pretty quickly.
All right, man. Well, that makes this a lot more exciting. Let's take a look at our map pool and see where these guys are going to be playing. Here's a map pool, of course, for Week 1 here in Season 3. And the first map that these guys are going to be playing on Round 1 is Ohana. Let's take a look at that. All right, there it is, of course. Ohana, it's going to be starting off, of course, with a ZVT. Oh, I haven't even done this in a while, man. I get to draw on the maps again. So sick. So here are your two main bases, guys, on this map. Naturals, of course, pretty easy to defend here. You just have a 2 force field sized ramp, so you really don't have to worry too much about early aggression. From the Zerg standpoint, if you go quad queen and you just have like one spine crawler right here with your queens, you shouldn't have to deal with any Hellion pressure. From the Terran perspective, one bunker here, maybe a supply depot wall at the top of the ramp, and you should be totally fine against most busts, although, Roachling Bane bust can be pretty scary regardless. Do have to worry there is a backdoor, entrance with rocks blocking it, but that's between your natural and your third, just to really allow that access. It's really not as much for allowing people to hit you in the back door to your natural. It's more about allowing you to freely get to your third without having that back door be open. There's 2 Zonaga towers on this map. On either side of this center area. Man, my mouse is shaky. I'm going to go ahead and make my viewport bigger. I'm on like this tiny little viewport, so it's like, not many pixels. Oh no, it still looks just as bad. All right. So there's your 2 Zonaga towers. They're really important for all this center control, all these pathways through the center of the map. There's just really these 2 main paths on this map. I mean, you can kind of go around through these expansions instead. But those 2 main pathways that we're going to be seeing, so you kind of end up having that same dynamic you had in Zonaga Caverns, just a bit. I mean, the center isn't impassable like it was on Zonaga, but you still have that kind of like, oh, if I go this way, I'm going to go this way, that kind of thing where people just kind of play around the rosy there. We saw that a lot yesterday in Jinro versus Top in that TVT. They were just kind of running around in circles around the center of the map, not wanting to engage each other. But there's a lot of natural expansion progression on this map. It's a really great macro map. You can defend 3 base if you like. This is your choke point, and you've got 3 bases just with that choke point there. So then you can get to your 4th. You just add on this little ramp, or you can take this one over here, although it's a little bit harder to defend. But overall, it's a pretty nice macro map. So should be pretty good to jump right into. TVZ FnaticRain against oGsAria. Let's jump right in. All right, here it is, guys. Game 1 in this best of 3. Remember, even round 1 is a best of 3 now, so it's just a little bit more consistent. Although now the semis and finals are both best of 5s, so just some changes to the format this season, of course. But we're now watching this game between Rain in the 11 o'clock position, representing Fnatic Raid Call as our green Terran against his opponent in the 5 o'clock position, Arya as our blue Mystery Zerg, representing old generations.
Yeah, so just to kind of build a bit on what you're saying with the map, I think the one defining feature of this map that really doesn't get talked about enough is the fact that there's only 10 bases, and that means that you only get 5 bases, as opposed to most other maps where pretty much 6 is kind of the standard. So The late game is just very different. It's a lot easier to play like a war of attrition style, which I think just really makes for a very different flow to the game and just a lot more interesting in general.
Yeah, it's really interesting how the actual kind of that standard that you're talking about has developed because five
Yeah.
bases per map was kind of the standard for a while. It's also another similarity to this with Zanaga Caverns in the layout.
Yeah.
A lot of maps back at that point in time, like everybody was just putting 5 bases per player on every map. And then it started getting, we started getting to maps like Daybreak where people were like, oh, wait a minute, actually having 6 bases per player is actually pretty cool here. Get just a little bit more of a macro game potential. But yeah, as you said on this map with 5 bases and hard to take bases as well. I mean, that base below the top left or above the bottom right, that is pretty hard to secure with such a big, wide open entrance. I mean, these are just line of sight blockers. They don't actually block pathing, so it's just a giant choke point, and it's pretty hard to actually get up to 5 bases on this map. But we're going to see a hatch first from Aria, and it looks like Rain's just going to be going for a gasless expand, and that will be scouted by Aria, so both these players should be feeling pretty confident, although I guess Rain doesn't know exactly what Aria's doing, but either way, as Terran, you can wall off. Both players should be feeling pretty confident they can just go into a standard macro game from here.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of the standard drone scouting early enough that you're going to find out if there's any kind of crazy cheese coming out. And then just the Terran player going for a one barracks expansion. I imagine we'll see him double gas. It's always interesting as these builds, the delayed reactor Hellion. We talked a lot about this, during the last season of the Korean Weekly. And just more often, we're seeing the command center get built before the second supply depot, which is what we're seeing now as this drone gets chased out. And then often you even see both gases get taken before that second supply depot, and that is going to be what Rain is going to do. So you can see not really going to be producing any more than one Marine, but this just allows them to get that gas income going much, much quicker.
Yeah, this allows for an extremely quick factory, which can, of course, allow you to get up those reactor Hellions if that's what you choose to, kind of deny some map control from your Zerg opponent. Maybe do some harass if you want. Other times we've seen players just rush up to a quick Banshee after doing this. Because, I mean, if the Zerg scouts, okay, I see a gasless expand, I see the command center go down, you're not really going to be expecting that quick Banshee to be arriving, get a lot of scouting, and a couple drone kills. But we do have gas mining for Arya, so he's not going to be going for that quad queen strategy. He is going to be getting speed at the very least. Unfortunately for Rain, he's not going to be able to keep his SCV in there to be able to find out if he's going to keep mining after 100 or not, though. So we don't know if Arya is going to be going for some type of all-in, like a Roach or Baneling all-in, or if he's just going to be stopping with Zergling speed for now.
Yeah, so we might see him throw down a bunker or something to be extra cautious, but he's throwing down his factory. We'll see him make a reactor, so he should be able to just glean as much information as he can and be safe from any kind of all-ins. And once again, this is a map where you've got your just single, well, not single ramp, but your double size ramp, however you want to call it, at your natural. So pretty easy to defend, especially if you do go for any kind of faster tanks, depending how many Hellions you want to make.
Wow, it looks like we're going to be seeing a very quick third out of Arya here, almost like PVZ or ZVP-esque,
like
except with the speed first. Yeah, it's basically a speedling expansion into a third. I do like it as well. I mean, you have a lot of map control when you have Zergling speed, and if you notice that your opponent's going to make some early Hellions, you can actually just pump out quite a few early Lings, try to get a surround, and really keep the Terran from knowing what's going on. If the Terran doesn't know you're taking that really early third, it's hard for them to make a good decision to punish it. What do you think about this bunker placement, though, from Rain? It's so bizarre.
This is crazy bunker placement, but I've noticed more players doing this. I forget the series. It was someone getting Roach Baneling busted on Cloud Kingdom yesterday, where the bunker was just so tucked back that it looks like, it looks like the Marines won't really have anywhere to run, or, it looks like the bunker's just going to get owned. But by putting it that far back, you just kind of buy yourself extra time to get extra shots off, and it actually works out well. I think it was the best doing it. So honestly, I'm confused by this bunker placement too, but it really seems to work quite well.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I was always under the impression like, just put it by the ramp, then you get like a couple extra hits as they come up. But
yeah,
putting it further back, I mean, you also get that opportunity to use your SCVs to defend just a little bit more. Get in a position to repair. We do see Rain now up to 4 Hellions. Did he continue? Yeah, he's continuing Hellion production now. And he actually had a second factory and has a tech lab, so we might just be seeing a rush up to Blue Flame with a massive amount of Hellions coming out here.
And there's also 22 Zerglings in production, so this is going to be a big surge of Zerglings. The question is, though, is he going for Blue Flame, or is he going to start Siege Tank production? He does have a He does have a ton of gas banked up here. Meanwhile, these Zerglings going to try and intercept, but Rain just got controls Hellions very well here.
Yeah, unfortunately slipping just a little bit on his macro while microing this as well. There we go, continuing his Hellion production again, but still hasn't done anything with that Tech Lab. He is up to 5 Hellions though. Arya just trying to get that surround, can't quite get it. Does pick off one more Hellion, but using those line of sight blockers, looks like Rain will escape for now. I'm still confused. Like you said, he has a ridiculous amount of gas banked up. There it is.
There we go.
Blue Flame has been started, so what is he planning on using all this gas for? I mean, he rushed up double gas, and he kept mining the whole time. He didn't, like, pull a couple off. And look at that Overlord Scout from Arya. He sees the Tech Lab upgrading, and if he actually gets close enough to see that second factory, he should realize what's going on here, and that Blue Flame's going to be coming out soon. We should see that Roach Warren drop pretty much immediately.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. You certainly can't just go pure Zergling and rely on some spine crawlers to defend this many Hellions. And like you said, almost 700 gas in the bank now for right now. He's kind of thinking, and he's adding his gas at his natural. So I really feel like he has to do something like throw down 2 more factors, or maybe even 2 armories would be a good choice here, just for pure straight up mech. Once again, this is a map where you can play that War of Attrition style. Be like, I'm going mech.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go up to 4 bases, and then I'm just gonna slowly take my 5th and never let you get a 6th.
Yeah, you called it, man.
And then you win.
Double Armory
Yes,
just been
good
started
vibes.
as I love the ordering though. He doesn't just rush double Armory. He gets a 3rd base, then goes double
Yep.
gas so he can go for that mech play, and then adds the double Armory. But here come the Hellions. Blue Flame not quite done yet, but they're just going for a spine crawler, man. They don't care. He's just gonna micro away the Hellions that start to get hurt. A couple Lings try to go for a counter just to get some scouting information, but it's not really going to help him out too much. Roach Warren finally is on the way. It's only about 3/4 of the way done, though, and Blue Flame's already done. This is a very dangerous moment for Arya right now. These Lings just get roasted. He cannot afford to engage into those Hellions. They are pretty clumped, so Bailey could help out, but it's just not going to be enough. They can kite away too effectively.
All right, we got 6 Roaches in production now, and it's just a question of how much damage is he going to take before the Roaches get out. I feel like it's going to be too much, and this just might be a game over right now. Every single drone at the natural is going to die.
Yeah, this is just absolutely brutal to watch. And the Queen doesn't quite get the block on the ramp. I mean, it dies pretty much instantly anyways, but still just to delay a little bit. A couple Roaches coming out. Will it be enough, though? I still don't even know if that'll be enough Roaches. I mean, he's taking so much damage. So many Lings going down as well right now. And he's down to just 25 drones already. So the fact that he's making all these Lings instead of rebuilding drones after taking so much damage is just putting putting Arya in a really, really awful position. And oh my god, the drones stack up and take even more damage.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, it's kind of like this is not something you can recover from. You've got your opponent meching. He's double armory upgrades going on. Like, you can drone up as much as you want here, but he's still... I mean, he's got 9 drones. 9.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
9.
You can't do anything with 9 drones against 57 SCVs. Sorry.
No.
He's got triple mules going down, and he's going mech. Like, that was unfortunate, man. I feel like Arya had such a great opportunity to play this game out because that Overlord Scout was fantastic. He saw both factories, and he sees a Tech Lab upgrading. Like, who's going to rush double factory tank that quickly? I mean, it could happen, but he already knew that 6 Hellions were out in the field. So, I mean, he knew the other factory had to have a reactor on it. And then he threw down a Baneling Nest instead of a Roach Warren. It was like, what are you doing? I don't know. Maybe it was a misread and he thought it was tanks. I can't imagine. But it ended up losing the game.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he's just going to charge up here with his Roaches, and there it is. GG comes out. So, Rain taking game number 1 here.
Yeah, well played indeed. I mean, Blue Flame Hellion, especially double factory Blue Flame Hellion, one with a reactor, is one of those things that you have to scout it. If you don't scout it and prepare, you're going to lose to it. It's like...
I mean, you called it. You were like, the Overlord came in. He needs to make a Roach Warren. Like, he needs to get the Roach Warren and get some Roaches because there's just too many Hellions. And I got to say, I'm disappointed because that game was shaping up to be, like, a game to remember. The way Rain was playing was, like, so good. Like, I love that build. And it just happened that he just straight up won the game with his Hellions, but he had an awesome follow-up all lined up. So
yeah, and not just Rain. Arya, too. I really like that. The fast expand into speed, 3rd base with map control. Really nice style. I agree with you. It's a little bit unfortunate, but oh well. We're going to move into game 2 and see if maybe Arya can make a bit of a comeback here. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with that after this quick commercial break.